Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we are tackling one of the biggest headaches in AI art, and that's cinematic consistency. We're going to explore how a tool like Nano Banana 2 can take all those random outputs you get and turn them into a super reliable, almost film-like production workflow.
Ma, what you mean, Ebony not there yet?
Don't worry, she's on her way now.
Ma, what you mean, Ebony not there yet?
Baby, it's okay. I took care of everything. Just get here and his friends are waiting on you.
Ma, what you mean, Ebony not there yet?
Ebony's mother wouldn't take no for an answer. Why all his parties gotta be at my house?
I mean, let's just start with something every single creator in this space has felt. It's that frustration with consistency, right? You get that one perfect shot of your main character, but then you try to put them in a new scene, and poof, they're gone. It feels like you're just rolling the dice every single time. And honestly, that's the #1 thing stopping us from telling a really good, cohesive visual story.
And really, this is the core difference we're talking about. I mean, look on the left. That's the old way, right? A total jumble of random faces, scenes that shift every time you blink. But then you look over on the right, and that's the goal. We're talking consistent characters, locked-in locations, just like you'd have on an actual film shoot. That's the kind of reliability we're gunning for. Okay, so here's our game plan. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through this entire creative workflow from start to finish. We'll kick things off with the problem, then jump right into making your first image. After that, we'll build out a consistent world with characters and locations, polish it up like a real director, and finally, take that beautiful render and bring it to reality.
All right, Section 1, the AI consistency problem. How do we get from that total randomness to something reliable? Well, the key, really, is having a tool that's actually designed for control. So instead of just crossing your fingers and hoping for the right result, this kind of workflow lets you actively build and direct your vision.
Okay, Section 2, from prompt to image. Let's jump right into the process. The very first thing we need to do is generate that one foundational image. You can think of it as the cinematic shot that's going to anchor your entire project. And honestly, it really is this simple. First, you set your canvas size. For that cinematic feel, we'd say go with a 2K resolution in a 16:9 aspect ratio. Step 2, you write your prompt, telling the AI what you want. Third, just hit that generate button. And fourth, and this is super important, you iterate. Every time you click, it creates a new layer, kind of like a new take on a film set. That way, you can tweak and refine your idea without ever losing what you had before. Okay, Section 3, building your consistent world. Now listen up, because this is the absolute key to consistency. This is the point where we stop just making one-off images and start actually building the core assets for our project. We're talking about casting your characters and scouting your locations. So what exactly is a character sheet? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a virtual actor's headshot. You just give it a reference photo, and from that moment on, that sheet becomes the single source of truth for the AI. It's what it looks at for that character in every single scene you make. And the process couldn't be easier. You create the sheet just by dragging in a photo. Give it a name, let's say you call it @hero. That's it. From now on, you can just call that character into any scene you want simply by typing their name. And for those really important close-ups where you need it to be perfect, you can turn on Character DNA to lock in that exact facial consistency. It's amazing.
And you know what? It works the exact same way for your sets. A location sheet is basically your virtual film set. It makes sure that the architecture, the layout, even the overall mood of a background stays totally consistent, no matter if you're doing a wide shot or coming in for a close-up.
All right, Section 4, polishing your cinematic vision. So we've got our cast, we've got our location, now it's time to actually direct the shot. This is where we get to use some really powerful creative tools to put that final polish on our image. Now these quick presets, think of them as your director's secret weapons. They're just one-click solutions. Let's say you need the lighting from your last take to match this new one for continuity. You just click Match Lighting. Or maybe you want to copy the visual style from some other reference image. Hit Apply Style. They're just these incredible shortcuts for keeping everything consistent. This right here is where you really step into the role of a virtual director of photography. You're not just describing a scene in a prompt anymore. No, you are actively choosing the camera angle, you're sculpting the light, you're applying a specific color grade, and you're even controlling the depth of field to really guide the viewer's eye. It's total control. Okay, Section 5, from render to reality.
We have directed our scene, we've picked out our absolute favorite shot from all the layers we made, so now it's time to get it ready for final delivery. And let's also talk a little bit about how to manage this whole production process efficiently.
And let me be clear, this is not just about making the image bigger. These upscale presets, like the ones from Magnific V2, are intelligent. They actually add the right kind of detail for specific situations. Whether it's perfecting a face for a portrait-perfect shot, or adding all that rich texture you need for a cinematic 4K frame. Now, understanding the cost structure is absolutely key to an efficient workflow. As you can see, a basic generation is pretty affordable, but features like character DNA or a big 4K upscale, well, those are more of an investment. And this is exactly why this whole process is so effective. You can test and iterate and experiment really cheaply in 2K, and then you only spend the big credits to upscale your absolute best final shots. It's just smart. This workflow also lays out a really clear learning path for you. In your first week, you can totally master prompts and layers. Then, within a couple of weeks, you'll be comfortable using character DNA and branching out your ideas. And hey, after a month or so, you could be building entire libraries of your own characters, totally ready for a full-scale production.
So, there you have it. We've just walked through the entire director's toolkit, from casting your characters and scouting locations, all the way to setting up that final, polished shot. You have the tools now, so the only question left is, what story are you going to tell?